Alright, so this is handy.computer. This is an amazing tool that you can use to quickly transcribe your own speech into text, and that means you can quickly transcribe your own speech into text. You don't have to type the text manually. You can just say it out loud and you can get the text version of your own voice or speech. And for me, this saves time and I can quickly work on a prompt. I can create a document or perhaps chat with anyone via WhatsApp, Telegram, Slack, or Discord by just saying it out loud. So in a way, handy.computer is quite similar to a tool like Wispr Flow, but of course, Wispr Flow is cloud-based, so you have to be connected with the internet to be able to use this AI tool. Whereas Handy is completely offline, it is local, in fact, it is running on an open source AI model. So it is actually a bit faster than Wispr Flow. However, there is one key advantage, or in this case, weakness of Handy. That is, in Wispr Flow, there is a feature called AI Auto Edits, where basically it is using a large language model to quickly fix any spelling errors or perhaps grammar errors on the speech. So later, you can get a transcription that is much cleaner. This feature is not yet available in Handy until now. So if you're running the latest version of Handy, you can actually use this feature. So we can run an open source local AI model on your computer to process the transcription, so we can fix some grammatical errors, spelling errors, or punctuation mistakes on your speech, so we can get a transcription that is a lot cleaner. So basically we can get this feature, but again, it is completely offline and local. So let me show you how you can set it up on handy.computer. Step number one, of course, you have to install this program on your computer. You can navigate to this URL and then you can download the version that is appropriate for your system. It is available for Mac, Windows, and Linux. Now, after that, you can open handy.computer and let's navigate to the advanced section, enable experimental features. And down here, you can enable post processing. So that's the name of the feature. It is not auto. It is similar to AI auto edits, but in this case, it is called post processing. Now you can see that there is a new menu called post process, and there you go. So basically, we can pair Handy with a large language model like DeepSeek, Qwen, Ollama, Gemma, Mistral, etc. to fix any errors in the transcription. Okay, so here we have to select custom. Now you can use models from OpenAI, Anthropic, Cloud, ChatGPT, Grok, etc. But in this case, we want to keep everything offline, and therefore we want to use the custom option, which in this case we can run a local AI model. Now, how do you run the model? Well, we have to use a tool called Ollama. You can navigate to Ollama desktop, and you can click this result. I'm going to basically you can download the version that is appropriate for your system. So this is a sort of interface. Let's say this is the app that lets you run an open source AI model. Just download and install the program on your computer, and I do recommend to use the desktop version because you don't have to deal with command line interface. You can just use this nice version that's easier to use, so we can set the settings, then later we can connect this with handy.computer. Okay, so basically after that you can open Ollama on your computer and you can navigate to settings. Oh, I forgot to mention that you have to download a model. So here you can select any model. I do recommend to use a model that is small enough but not too small. So you can use something like 4 billion parameters, perhaps 2 billion parameters, or maybe even just 1 billion parameters. This is, for example, Gemma 3 with 1 billion parameters. But in this case, I'm going to use the 4 billion parameters because it is going to be a bit smarter than the 1 billion version. But basically just download the model that is appropriate for your system. Okay, now after that, sorry about that, you can open settings and then you can click this option called expose Ollama to the network. Make sure that this option is enabled. Just toggle this option. And after that, we can go back to handy.computer and just enter the best URL to be this URL, localhost : and then 11434/v1. That's the base URL of Ollama. And the API key, you don't have to enter that because, well, we are using local model here. And you can click refresh to refresh the model that is available in Ollama. Now I'll select Gemma 3 with 4 billion parameters. And down here, you can select the prompt that you want to use for the large language model, for the Gemma model in this case. So there is actually the default prompt called improve transcriptions, and this is the instruction. You can actually modify it. You can specify maybe you want to use a different language, you want to make the tone to be softer, stuff like that. You can do it, but by default it's going to fix the spelling errors, it's going to fix the problem with digits, numbers, stuff like that. It will be fixed down here. So that's the prompt that is going to be used for the large language model. Okay, now I think I'm going to disable this feature first because I want to give you a comparison between not using and using this large language model. So I'm going to disable it first. I'm going to disable pause processing. And here in this document, I have 2 examples of incorrect phrases. So these sentences are grammatically incorrect, but I'm going to show you before and after using the pause processing in Handy. So I'm going to use the version without pause processing, but I guess I'm going to let you know that depending on the models that you're using, some models are actually will automatically correct some light mistakes in the transcription. Like I noticed that Wispr Turbo is a little better compared to Parakit when it comes to correcting some little mistakes. But again, it is just light correction. It is not going to drastically change the text. So I think this is going to be a valid test. Anyway, here I'm going to read this particular phrase or sentence without the pause processing. Okay, here we go. Me and Sarah was like going to the store yesterday. Okay, this should be Sarah, but that's fine. Yeah, as you can see, it is still using the word was, even though it should be were, not was. Okay, now I'm going to read again. You know what I mean? Like, I seen that show like 3 times already. Okay, so this is grammatically incorrect. Now, let me just enable that feature. I'm going to go back and let's enable pause processing again. Let's navigate to pause process just to verify that everything is running just fine. Okay, I think we're ready to use this tool. All right, I'm going to try this. Me and Sarah was like going to the store yesterday. Okay, notice that it is a bit slower now because the message was sent to or needs to be processed by a large language model before now we can get a much cleaner transcription. So it is correcting the problem, the mistake, like it should be were instead of was, and as you can see, it is fixing that problem, and also it is removing the filler word, which is the like. It is actually a filler word. So yeah, it is doing quite a great job. Now let's try it again. You know what I mean? Like, I seen that show like 3 times already. Okay. There you go. So you know what I mean. I have seen that show 3 times already. It is removing the filler words. It is adding punctuation, and also the grammar is a lot better now. So this is the benefit of using a large language model to process the transcription before getting the actual text from Handy. So now we don't have to use Wispr Flow anymore, at least in this particular case. Of course, there's still some use cases of Wispr Flow, but at least for a stuff like writing a message or writing a document, writing a prompt, we can get something, we can get a transcription that is much more accurate. It is going to be cleaner compared to not using the large language model. So this is a nice addition, and I heard that you can also use LM Studio for the base URL, although I haven't tried it. But basically, as you can see, I can work with the Gemma model via Ollama on handy.computer, and I can get transcription that is much more correct, it is much more accurate and ready to be used on my project or document. So that's basically the step-by-step guide to enable large language model on handy.computer with the help of Ollama. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Have a great day.